and you're calling members of the DNC. There's one group, the one that has invisibilized and mocked and character assassinated me from the beginning, who clearly took this idea, do not answer her calls, do not return her texts, etc. But the people I would get on the phone, what I learned is how this organization operates. The vast majority of the members of the DNC are deeply disempowered. The DNC itself runs, its governance model is everything we say we don't want this country to be. It's a small group of elite, very opaque, by the way. You might have heard Zogby talk about the fact he's on the budget committee and he doesn't know the numbers. A small group of elite who take the same view within the organization that I felt as a candidate. Look, we got this. We're the grown-ups here. We know how this is done. We don't need your input. Really? Let me repeat. You lost Michigan, you lost Pennsylvania, you lost Wisconsin. You're losing the country. And Donald Trump is about to be inaugurated on January 20th. Meanwhile, there are incredible people who are members of the DNC. There is so much talent there. There's so much passion for everything you and I believe in. So much of a real devotion to progressive governance. So the first thing you have to do is return the DNC itself, if it ever was. I don't know, but put it now into alignment with the principles that we say. Right now, basically what this is about is a consultancy class, whether it is SDK Knickerbocker or Precision Strategies or whatever. This is about their having money. This is about their multi-million-dollar contracts, which are the governing principle. Their profits are the governing principle of the DNC. It is a failed business model. It is a failed messaging model. It is a failed organizing model. And you need a head of the DNC who's going to go in there, know what's really happening, which I believe the majority of DNC members do know. But a leader chairman of the DNC who goes in and sets those things straight to the greatest possible extent.
It's truly a racket. And
it is.
I know that you've actually obtained a significant milestone. You were able to get the 40 signatures required to be a quote unquote official candidate, which means get to participate in all the forums, get to officially make your case. Is that what that effectively means?
Yeah, we had 42 by the time we said, we got it.
Let's go.
So yes, later this afternoon, I'll be on the labor forum. Tomorrow, I'll be on the forum having to do with the state parties. It's very exciting. There's one in Detroit. There are two online. There's another one in Washington, D.C. So I'm the candidate for those who know that incremental change is not going to do it. More bells and whistles is not going to do it. You've got to recognize the corruption that's in the bones of this thing.
Yeah.
And that's the truth we're telling here.
You know, my fear is right after Election Day, there seemed to be some genuine shock, possible soul searching going on, even among Democratic elites. And that seems to have really faded. You have people like Jim Clyburn saying, everyone just needs to chill. It's fine. Hakeem Jeffries put back in with no dissent as, leader in the House. Even the contours of this DNC chair race. I mean, I know the odds you're up against, right? You've got the New York Times effectively, to their credit, writing not a lot of soul searching that we're seeing from Democratic elites, at least vis-a-vis this DNC party chair race. And you have comments being made like these from Chuck Schumer that effectively indicate Democrats don't have a reality problem. We need to tweak the messaging a little bit because people aren't really understanding just how absolutely incredible we are. Let's just go ahead and take a listen to a little bit from Senator Chuck Schumer. And then I just love to hear from you where you think Democrats went astray and what you're hearing in terms of the level of soul searching or lack thereof.
All too often, Kristen, we talked about the mechanics of the legislation and the details of the legislation, and we really didn't show the kind of empathy and concern to average or show enough of it to average working families who didn't realize how much we had done and how much we care for them. So what we're going to do is spend a lot of time talking to working families, showing them how much we care about them.
So, again, this frames this as purely a messaging issue. And look, I do think Democrats have a messaging issue too. They had a president of the United States. They have a president of the United States who was really unable to articulate much of anything about much of anything. But to purely look at this as, oh, we just need to, fine tune the messaging and really tell working class people just how amazing we've been for them, I think is incredibly condescending and just utterly misses the point. And of course, lets all of the people that you're talking about, the consultant class and the elites that led us down this disastrous path as a country, and certainly for the Democratic Party, lets them completely off the hook.
Well, there's a lot here, including the fact that what would consulting firms on K Street in Washington, D.C. know about how to talk to people in Kansas? Even if they wanted to, or know how to talk to people in Nebraska, or know how to talk to people in North Dakota. Meanwhile, once again, going back to the membership of the DNC, you have members who do know, who have been working in those states for sometimes decades, and their voices are nullified. They are given very little in terms of money. They're just always begging for some help from the DNC. Now, the greatest deviation is not on the matter of messaging. It's on the matter of values and principles. And what does progressive governance mean? What are the values of the Democratic Party? But he's not entirely wrong, because the Republicans are very good about tending to their base. They talk to people all year in a non-condescending way, and they keep people informed. Now, unfortunately, for people like us, they keep them informed, but always through the lens of, the Republican playbook. What the Democrats have done, and I think to some extent that's what Senator Schumer was referring to, basically just show up every 2 or 4 years, always with a gimme attitude. Give us your votes, give us your money. Then you're supposed to just assume that we're going off into our wood-paneled rooms and we're doing what's best for you, right? And then we'll be back in 2 years to talk to you. Yeah. I do feel to some extent the Republicans don't walk their talk, but the Democrats haven't talked their walk. One of the reasons I want to be chair is that, if the Democrats have the White House, you have the largest megaphone in the world. If you have the Speaker of the House, you have a large megaphone. If you're in control of the Senate. We're not going to have any of those things over the next session. So the DNC has to be the megaphone. That's why it's not enough. Even the best of them who are talking about traditional political activism, we've got to become a prophetic voice. Which is what traditionally the Democratic Party was. Someone who is out there and creating an entire communications network and infrastructure to be talking to people. And a lot of that has to do with unleashing the power of those in these states who know how to talk to people in their states, including the fact if you're going to have a consulting firm working in Kansas, it should be a consulting firm in Kansas. It is the money. When you were saying it's a racket, it's the money that's kept right here. Earlier, you were talking about O'Malley, talking about how and David Plouffe saying we need more money. Yeah.
Well, I have that clip. Let me just play that clip so people know what we're talking about here. And then I'll
explain what that really means, right?
Yeah, because it is extraordinary. So David Plouffe, we covered on this show, I'm sure you watched the big Pod Save interview with the Kamala Harris senior staff where they're like, we were perfect. We did everything right.
People just don't understand.
And one of the only critique, effectively, I don't want to overly generalize, but basically the only critique was David Plouffe saying, we should have been a little more corrupt the way the Republicans were. That's your takeaway. In any case,
that's what we need to discuss.
O'Malley gets asked this question about, hey, do you agree with David Plouffe on this? From Jen Psaki over on MSNBC. Let's go ahead and take a listen to a bit of that exchange.
Let me ask you about something that David Plouffe said on Pod Save America, someone you and I both know. He said, quote, we have to stop playing a different game as it relates to super PACs than Republicans. They coordinate more than we do. I'm just sick and tired of it. And he was talking about kind of legal advisors saying to the DNC and others, you can't coordinate at all with super PACs while Republicans are doing that. What do you make of that?
I think there's to that observation, and that's what I've heard as well, talking to people, both lawyers and also people within the DNC. We need to make greater use of the flexibilities, not to do things illegally, but we need to be making greater use of the flexibilities in the law, especially for moving money around, spending dollars appropriately on things so that, say, Hakeem Jeffries and his congressional candidates don't have to spend that money on if we can do it as a party. So we need to make better use of all of the flexibilities that are in the law, because Lord knows we're getting pounded because of some of them. We need to make sure that we are playing by this